The value is worth billions of naira. Of course, the calculation, because the seizure was actually made between 2019 and 2020. So the value now, the international value which we use in calculating the worth of drugs seized and confiscated was not actually applied. But this one worth billions, more than 20 billions? About 50 billions naira. So but this is the local rate which has been used. If you use the international rate in dollars, it would have been far more than that.
So we want to be clear about these ones you're burning today were seized from what period of time to what period of time?
It was seized between 2019 and 2020. Of course, it's part of the mandate, and we have been executing this mandate since the inception of NDLEA. In fact, it is part of the money laundering. The proceeds of illicit drug, is always cleaned up, and anywhere it is found. So the accused person or the trafficker will not be convicted without the asset being forfeited. Apart from the drug seized that will be destroyed, whatever asset is traceable to the drug business will also be seized from him and destroyed and taken by the government. But for these ones, which is illicit, government has nothing to do with it. So what we do is to destroy them and take them away from the street, take them away from public, from anyone who may likely have to use it. So that's why it's being destroyed.
Can you mention a few of the drugs here?
Well, we have cocaine, we have heroin, we have cannabis, we have raffinol, we have ephedrine. Ephedrine is part of the precursor which is used to make the methamphetamine, the one that they popularly call Meripulu in East, right? So, of course, some of them, so there's so many of them.
So many Nigerians are asking,
we have,
how do these drugs even come into the country in the first place?
Well, I tell you that apart from those ones coming in, some of them are being manufactured here. Methamphetamine, for instance, is being used by precursors such as ephedrine, which is not itself illicit, and with mixture of other things to come out with methamphetamine. And that is the clandestine laboratory which we are going after. And we have destroyed so many of them. We're still looking for so many of them in the East. And we have informants, as well as civil society helping us to locate some of them. So we're going after them. Apart from working against drug supply, we're also looking at the drug demand to reduce it as much as possible. Just like what I've said earlier, most of these drugs being used by students are not being imported. They are manufactured by students themselves. They're manufactured by local people. In fact, there are so many things which are being used now to concoct drugs of psychoactive substance. And what we are doing, apart from the fact that we are following them to see how to remove this from the street, we are also upping our rehabilitation and treatment position in the agency. We know that the drugs is here already. We know that people are using it. And what we need to do is also to follow and see how we can rehabilitate and counsel and treat those ones who are already in use. For instance, there are some of them that are not even mentioned in the law, but they are drugs. The mixture of lacacera with Maggi and so many other things, they're not known drugs to law. But when it is done, it's as high as anything like cocaine or methamphetamine. So we just have to also be very aggressive in our rehab and treatment positions, so which is what we have. And we thought that by next year, God's willing, we should be able to have some rehabilitation home to see how we can also work with students. For the students, we're also working with universities. We have a program which are going to work with universities, and that will be flagged up by next year. And all campuses will be visited. And we want to see how the WADA Club will be empowered to work also in the campus. The WADA clubs are also students themselves, those who volunteer to fight drugs in the campuses. So we're going to use them a lot. We're going to use coppers, we're going to use royal fathers, we're going to use vice chancellors, and then curricular advisors in all the universities. So that's the plan we have for the next year. Umpumiri is actually methamphetamine, and it's made from this ephedrine and some other local concoction. So that's exactly what we're talking about. So we have a lot of these clandestine laboratories manufacturing this Nkumiri everywhere. Not just in the east, in the southeast, in the south-south, we have them. And some of them are coming up to the north as well. So we are monitoring them, we're following them. And in fact, our attention is not just in the east now, it's all over the country. Because as you are focusing on the east, they're also moving to other parts of the country. And these things are done in the forest. So it's part of what is funding terrorism. It's part of what is funding all these belligerent agitators. It's part of what is funding all these criminals we're talking about, or the banditries, and even the Boko Haram. So we're actually complementing the effort of the security agents to see how to destroy all these things and cut off completely the supply of some of the precursor drugs which is being used for it.
Well, I sincerely believe that, as you can see, the NDLEA under the dynamic leadership of the Brigadier General Buba Musa Marwa, we have achieved some significant landmarks, and the seizure and destruction today of 19 tons is obvious that there's a renewed reinvigoration and rebirth of the NDLEA. And you have seen the efforts of the agency within a very short time of this dynamic leadership.
So what are you expecting from them in the short time?
Well, we're expecting for more achievements, more successes in the future, eradication of drugs, trafficking and consumption within not only the FCT but all other contiguous states and Nigeria at large. The drug abuse is a cankerworm that affects the various sectors of the community, and we are doing all our efforts to ensure that we have reduced and mitigate the trend so that we can have a safer, saner and healthier society.
Your name?
My name is Dr. Mohammed Malami Sokoto.